Hello again, it's Garson, and ooh, look at that crossbow. That's a nice looking crossbow. Hey, that's what we're here to talk about. It's Harold. He's my good friend, Harold. So, real quick, without further ado, if you don't know, Harold is a pretty awesome weapon. So what we're going to try and do is utilize it to kind of land on this Call Lightning. I bet you've been in the same situation. You have like some kind of dexterity saving throw spell and just won't land, right? So that's what we're going to try and use Harold to help us out with. He's a good friend. Let's see what we can do. So if we're getting a 6%, a 35%, obviously the citizens, we don't want to strike them, but yeah, 35% there, not too hot, right? So what we're going to do is start some trouble. And I'll see if we can land this a lot better. Ready? Go ahead. Bang. There we go. Good job, Gale. Start that trouble. Alright, Gale here, he's going to throw down a haste cloud for us. Nice. Okay. And what I'm going to do on my Valor Bard here is we're going to use this awesome arrow of many targets. And we're going to hit everybody. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, Bane and Reverberation, huh? So, we've got Reverb level 4. We've got Bane and Reverb 4. We've got Reverb. We got Reverb. Hey, let's see what we can do now. So, 81%. Wait. 81%? How did he do that? 95%. 95%. Oh my goodness, right? Hold on. We're going to make it even nastier. It's not all Harold. I won't lie to you. Okay. But, uh-oh. Now you're prone, not just... Oh my goodness. What is it now? 64%, 99%, 95%. We went down a little bit because of the reverb stacks, but it's fine. Let's just rock out. Ready? Call down the thunder, now reap the whirlwind. Bam! So we just zapped them. Let's see. Did we get our full damage on that? Full damage. Obviously, you know, dice not pending. So, how did that all work, and was it just Harold? Well, I won't lie to you, it wasn't just Harold, but Harold is a good friend. He helped out there considerably, okay? So I want to kind of show you a cool crossbow, low-key, awesome crossbow weapon you might want to use in your next run and how you use it, all right? So my friend Harold, that's a video all about him. I do appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for the support lately. We're going to kind of keep this video light, but if you do want to support the channel and you make it all the way to the end, just let me know. I'll kind of go over some stuff. But for now, let's talk about Harold and not me, all right? So, this is a low-key awesome crossbow. But in order to kind of explain why, I'm going to kind of blitz through a few topics and then we'll get to the builds and the crossbow, okay? So allow me to blitz through this. I'll try and show you in-game some of this stuff, okay? So, we have Dex Crash Course, right? Basically on the defensive side, just if you didn't know, your little modifier here affects a lot of things. So the more you pump your dexterity on the even levels, you get a +1. So we're at 18, we get a +4. All right. Obviously use your cheat sheet to help you out here. So on the defensive side, we get +4 armor class from the dexterity. We get +4 to initiative. Okay, we get +4 to our dexterity saving throws, and we even get +4 to our acrobatics to prevent us from getting, you know, shoved and pushed and all that stuff. Okay, so armor class, saving throws, initiative, all of these defensive values, right? This prevents us from getting hit with somebody else's arrows or melee attacks. This prevents us from getting hit from nasty dexterity saving throws like lightning arrow, and this just lets us go first, which could be seen as a defensive benefit. Obviously, you could just run away now if you go first in the round, or, you know, you could see it offensively, because offensively dexterity also allows us to use that +4 on certain weapons like the finesse weapons. Falar Louve here is a finesse weapon. It'll use your dex over your strength if one's higher than the other. So we do get a +5 to our melee accuracy and damage. But we also get the same bonuses to ranged weapons, and there is no consideration here. All ranged weapons, crossbows, bows, use dexterity. So you're probably investing in dexterity anyway, right? But look at all the benefits you get. And that's really what I'm just trying to highlight here, okay? So out of combat, though, there is some even crazier benefits. I try to say all the time, sleight of hand, stealth. In fact, I did a video of how to get Harold really quickly at level 3 in Act 1, which is one of the best things about Harold. You get him early, he's a friend with you all game long. But yeah, sleight of hand and stealth were big factors in there, and if you're investing in dex to use this weapon, you could be getting the benefits of those as well, which could let you get anything and everything you want, including Harold. Okay, so ranged weapons, let's talk about them real quick. There's bows and crossbows, obviously different types. Hand crossbows are a big favorite for people. Bows, some of the strongest weapons in the game are heavy or great bows, light bows. So then what about just regular old heavy crossbows, right? Are there any good ones? Well, I think this one is excellent. So let's talk about what makes ranged weapons in general, including Herald, really strong. So on paper, they seem really good because we just talked about Dex, right? Oh, look at all the benefits. But in practice, when playing this game in Tactician and Honor Mode especially, they're freaking OP, okay? Sometimes I have to tell myself we're not doing ranged weapons this run just to have a challenge. So piercing damage isn't the strongest damage, especially on the higher difficulties. What you're going to see is a lot of targets actually resist magically and physically, right? Just like poison, you're like, poison's not good, it's immune and resisted all the time. But here's the thing about piercing, they have so many benefits on ranged weapons, it's insane. Okay, first up, there's the arrow types. So if we look at our arrow types here, we do have Slayer arrows and many targets, as well as the elemental arrows, right? And these could be really valuable. For instance, this one stops healing while doing bonus damage. Okay, this one can save somebody from paralysis. This can blind people or create a cloud to obscure you for assassinations. This can push people off. And there's just generally, there's some elemental damages, okay? But the real value lies in those arrows, the many arrow targets and the slayers, right? Slayer arrows do 2 times the damage if you line it up with the right type, okay? So this piercing resistance we talked about right here is effectively null because this construct arrow will just do 2 damage or 2 attacks. So for the price of 1 arrow, I get 2 attacks, effectively erasing that halving damage, right? So enough math. All that means is that doesn't matter now, okay? But you gotta kind of like find these, buy these. Okay, that's a little annoying, but doesn't change the fact that if you want them, you can get them. Okay, the other thing is arrow of many targets, as you saw in the little like demo there. I hit everybody with 1 arrow. Okay, and then all the conditions from Herald and my set apply to everybody. Okay, so that's extremely powerful. Never mind the fact that whatever damage I do is now hitting multiple targets. Okay, so whether if they don't have resistance or they do, doubling your damage up or just keeping it normal is huge. Overcoming resistance is big, right? And then just hitting everybody, which there's a little highlight here, right? So we can see that because obviously we'll be using this, so focus on that, all right? So then there's the sharpshooter feat. So on Gale, we have sharpshooter. Here's a little tips and tricks. If you have sharpshooter from your feats, just drag this down. What this is going to do is add 10 flat damage, okay? So if we turn it off, right, it now has 6 to 15 damage on my arrows, right? But if we turn it on, I get 10 flat damage, 16 to 25 damage, all right? We can just turn it on and off because maybe your accuracy is not that hot from your dexterity bonuses, okay? But when you feel very confident in a shot, you can turn this on, get flat damage. And like I said, something as strong as volley here. Volley will hit everybody indiscriminately with that 10 plus damage, right? So sharpshooter and arrow types, not to mention who uses this, obviously this is pretty crazy, okay? So ranged weapons are pretty broken, but then we can actually think about who's even using them and take it even further beyond. We already talked about Dex. I gave you the crash course there. So any Dex build might want to be sticking around. Obviously, they get the benefit of using ranged weapons, which is inherently good on paper. Okay, so we can extend that even further because we saw volley. So a level 11 ranger, we can hit everybody here. There's no resource. You don't need arrow types. You don't need to buy anything. You don't need to use spell slots. Level 11 hunter ranger, for investing so deep into this subclass, will allow you to just hit everybody indiscriminately with that plus 10 and all that other good stuff, right? Whatever else I'm adding to it. So all of this damage on a single arrow now applies to everything, right? And even better than that, if I use this attack, I get a second attack, right, with my action. This still counts as a normal attack, so I would be able to get 2 volleys every action, or in honor mode at least once per turn, right? So that's pretty wild. Volley's pretty disgusting. Flourish, remember how we talked about Slayer arrows? So I don't have a Swords Bard, but what's very popular about Swords Bard is they can do effectively Slayer arrows, this double damage here, but indiscriminately. You don't need to know who you're trying to attack, you just attack them. You effectively get 2 shots with 1 shot by blowing your Bardic Inspiration as your ammo, and this stuff comes back on short rest. So this is extremely popular, and people love using Swords Bard for effectively a free Slayer arrow, like 4 or 5 of them every short rest period. So the flourish shot's super powerful. Obviously attacking twice with 1 action and then attacking twice again with a follow-up action is pretty crazy. Fighters are some of the best archers in the game because they just use 3 attacks. At level 11, they get a bonus attack. So every action becomes 3 attacks effectively, or in honor mode, you at least get 3 attacks per turn. That's crazy, okay? So fighters love love archery. It's crazy. They love attacking, right? And then rogues are sneak attack masters, right? So the more you invest in rogue, it's like a paladin smite, but with your weapon damage. So if you're using piercing damage, your sneak attack will become piercing damage, okay? And if you land that sneak attack, you'll get a pretty big single strike a target attack, right? Okay, so the more you can raise this, the more benefit there is to that as well. Then there's the archery style, which adds accuracy for that sharpshooter all in. You're losing 5 accuracy for 10 damage. This can help out if you can get the archery style. And then there's of course many more users that would benefit from just ranged attackers. But then why are heavy crossbows not typically sought after? They're not the best. Well, let's just look at them on paper, right? 1d10 is what all heavy crossbows do for their piercing damage, right? 1d10 damage. So you got that going for you. Higher than the hand crossbows, around the same as the heavy longbows and whatnot. But you do have the maximum range. This is, you know, look at the range here. Woo! Like the 60-foot range plus whatever high ground benefits you get out of that. So that's as long as, like, you know, Eldritch Blast and Firebolt, those cantrips and whatnot. So you're not doing any worse on range. Your damage seems pretty fine. And then you do get this cool little crossbow expert, which allows you to run up to targets and not have disadvantage. So if we hop down here, we wouldn't have disadvantage. And thanks to the risky ring, I actually do have advantage. So we got that going for us when it comes to bows and crossbows. Crossbows do get this little feat, but you would have to take this feat in order to have that advantage. Not the greatest thing in practice, but it's notable, right? So let's just talk about Herald then. We can actually kind of sink into the meat and then get into the builds here. So it is a heavy crossbow, the 1d10, like I said. It looks great. Absolutely fantabulous weapon. Look at this beautiful monster here. That's my buddy. All right, beautiful weapon. Another good thing is, I forgot to type it out, it's early access. Okay, so like I said, there's a video on that. I showed how to get this really easy with sleight of hand, stealth, some cheesy goodness. Actually, legit cheesiness. But you can get this super early by level 3, Act 1. So it's going to be your best friend all game if you choose to use it. It is a +1 weapon. So let's just keep this really simple. The +1 here, the enchantment, just adds 1 to your accuracy roll and 1 to your damage roll. Guaranteed, just flat damage and accuracy. So that's really good. You really want enchantment weapons as you play through the game. Okay, and then there's the piercing shot. There's some little cool bonuses with using this weapon. Weapons usually have some short rest ability like piercing shot and brace. Okay, this just gives you 2 damage dice and you'll use the higher, and this will make them bleed. But that's not why we're talking about Herald, okay? We're talking about Herald because the unique ability to Bane. So if you do damage, which that's the point of using ranged weapons, right? Your target must succeed a charisma saving throw or they'll be baned. So let's talk about Bane for a second. You're going to pass this charisma throw, and if you do if they fail this charisma throw rather, they'll get a 1d4 penalty. This is reverse bless if you don't know about Bane, right? What it's going to do is add a negative flat, like not a flat, but a little 1d4 dice to their accuracy attack rolls, right? So they miss more. And it's also going to give them that same penalty to their saving throws, like being picked up and chucked off a cliff, or landing that lightning spell I tried using earlier, or maybe it's the difference between landing a hold person and now you can just destroy them with free critical hits, okay? So that's where Bane really helps us, and it's really subtle because you go, oh, it's a 1d4 penalty, is it that strong? Bless is that strong. So the reverse of Bless is, in fact, that strong, okay? But the real strength here is that you're not casting Bane. You are hitting multiple targets with your multi-arrow or your Slayer arrow, and you're doing massive damage. And depending on the build, right, like Volley is hitting so many people with +10 damage and whatever else I stack it, but also you're inflicting this condition among other conditions. And so you'll see with the builds in a moment, the whole reason I'm able to land lightning arrow or chain lightning or hold person is because I'm causing this debuff chain while also increasing my spell save chances, okay? And when you combine that while doing damage, you're killing like 2, 3, 4 birds at one, right? That's the old saying, kill a bird, 2 birds, 1 stone. So when you can do that, that's what leads to powerful, like, you know, character creation, builds, potential, okay? So if you're not killing them, like a big guy, big boss, or there's just a crowd of people, you're at least doing some damage and causing them to become further more susceptible to landing some really dangerous stuff like lightning arrow or chain lightning or hold person. Okay, so it's time for build time. This is why I think Herald's pretty awesome. We're gonna go with Gale real quick. Like I said, I gotta be careful because I'm gonna murder everybody with volley, but what we'll try and do is land here, let me just break it down for you. Here's what Gale does, and we use this in a run. This is slightly modified to kind of put fatigue in here, okay? So we're going to use Bane and fatigue with our volley, so everybody we hit is likely going to get these two conditions, okay? So we use 16 dex and wisdom at the start, and we build our character, and as we level this level 12 character up, we're going to get crossbow expert, so we can walk up to people and not have disadvantage with our crossbow. Take that little benefit. Sharpshooter adds that 10 damage to attack and volley. And 2 dexterity, we know why, because that 18 dexterity makes us more accurate, more chunky with the armor class and whatnot. We know what Herald does. It adds the Bane to targets while damaging them. And we're going to use Strange Conduit Ring, because if we focus on something like Blur, we can actually get psychic damage, and so we can get mental fatigue with these gloves. Okay? And when we have mental fatigue on our gloves, they're more susceptible to something like Hold Person. And so when we cause a condition, whether it's mental fatigue or Bane, we actually get arcane synergy from the helmet. The helmet's going to add my wisdom +3 to my damage, so I'm getting more damage while causing effects, while doing damage. We're just letting all the benefits roll in, okay? I effectively have an initiative alert here, just some armor class, risky ring for accuracy, and we did run this on Lae'zel during the Spore Druid run, fun guy. Okay, so let's see what we can get done here. Let's actually roll up here with the haste grenade again. And I'm just going to start some trouble with some volley. Wait for it. Get the right shot here. Alright, I don't want to hit no citizens, so what I'll do is just start with a mini... Nope. I'll just start with one of these. Cool. Sure did. Alright. So, what you can see here is that I hit him with Bane, right? This doesn't always happen, but because his charisma is low, he has a -2 now from Bane. -4 is what it says, but just before I baned him, right? He has basically like a 12 or higher, he gets the save. But if a 12 or lower, he's going to get Bane. And when he's Baned, now it makes all these other saving throws weaker, plus his accuracy against me, right? Given my high armor class, I'm less likely to get hit on Gale here, right? So the 24 armor class plus his negative to accuracy roll, I'm much safer, my team's much safer, and also we can keep stacking the benefits, right? So I'm in the haste elixir, where is it? Get the haste benefit, there you go. Okay, so let me cast this. He's immune to psychic damage, but not everybody else is, right? So when I use this and hit everybody, they have mental fatigue when they do psychic damage, right? When I concentrate on Blur, I'm now concentrating. My weapon now does psychic damage. When I do psychic damage, these guys now get mental fatigue and potentially Bane as well. So this guy has Bane and mental fatigue, right? Okay. So look at the saving throw on wisdom, right? It was +1 from his little 12 wisdom, but now it's -3, which it kind of fluctuates with Bane, right? But it's also -2 from the stacks of mental fatigue because of that psychic damage. So if I were to try and hold person, right, it'd be a lot easier now. 75, 75, right? So if I volley everybody, it becomes that much more deadly. Plus I'm doing damage, right? So we do the damage, right? I could have hit 2 of them. Now he has 4 stacks of it. Okay, we're gonna go with a speed potion here. Oh wait, I'm already tasted. All right, bring somebody else in. So if I use a whole person on this guy, it's up to 90%, okay? Because, again, he has 4 mental fatigue, -4 from Bane, so it becomes so easy for my guy who doesn't really have the highest spell save, right? He's gonna get a 90% on whole person, right? Lock him down. And then this guy could just be pelted now like crazy. So if I get this haste, get my hasted action, now this guy is gonna get destroyed. And if I ran up to him, he would get critical hit, right? So that's the power of using mental fatigue with Bane, and then volley can hit everybody, right? So let's reload this real quick. Move on to the next build here. We got the hireling, the other guy right there, the one rocking out. So this is one I'm using in a current run with a level 12 Valor Bard, right? The thunderous applause. So he's got a bit of a thunder and lightning. If you hear the thunder, you likely see the lightning, right? Okay, so we've got 16 dexterity and 17 charisma starting this guy out when we were like leveling him up. And we take actor because we get our charisma to 18 with this. It's 1 charisma, but it also gives him expertise in 2 of the talking skills. Okay, so his performance and deception gets doubled up with the expertise bonuses, and he goes up to 18 charisma with that. Plus, we get the 2 dexterity because he's trying to use dexterity. We talked about dex, right? And then he actually took Great Weapon Master because this guy can do it all. Okay, that's the whole point of my Valor Bard. He can do it all. He can steal, he can shoot, he can fight. So he actually gets the bonuses on attacking if he was two-handing this. But we're just using Herald for now. So Herald, we know that Bane's the targets. The Drake Throat is what allowed me to get thunder damage on this weapon. And why is that important? Because if we do thunder damage, these gloves apply the reverb condition, right? But also when we do thunder damage, this hat gives me more spell save DC, okay? So between Bane from Herald and reverb gear lowering their dexterity saving throws, chain lightning, call lightning, right? And the thunder acuity raising my spell save DC, okay? Now you understand in the beginning what was happening here is I'm lowering their chance to dodge my dex saving throw while raising my chance to cast the spell effectively, right? So I'm currently running this in the honor run. We're seeing how far. This is just level 12, right? How does it work? In theory, pretty good. How does it work in practice? We're leveling it up. Okay, so like I said, we'll start some trouble. I'll show you that little intro now that you know everything, right? So, ba-boom. Okay, so what we can do now is get Gale. Like I said, we're gonna get a haste potion or haste grenade here. Cool. All right, and so we saw with the mental fatigue that affects things like hold person, but if you want to do the damaging spells like call lightning or chain lightning, arrow lightning, this is your ticket, right? Because again, the hat right now, if I hit with thunder damage, I'll be doing damage and raising my accuracy. But also the reverb, when I do thunder damage, will be weakening them from dodging any of that thunder damage. Okay? Or thunder spells, right? So when you hear the thunder, right, it becomes a lot more likely you're going to be struck by lightning. 81, 95, 85. Okay? So let's zap them. Kaboom! Okay? So 37, 32, I'll tell you right now from this. 32 and 37 full damage, so they didn't dodge it and take half damage. And again, we can keep rolling the benefits if I have this up here 24 already, right? I think we're at max acuity almost, right? But the point is I can take a construct arrow, shoot him, do more damage, get more reverb on him, potentially prone, and then of course I can just keep striking down next turn with activate, call lightning and whatnot. But that's going to do it. I just wanted to give you the demo and why I think Herald is really awesome. You can see when you take something seemingly not that powerful, like Herald's ability to cause Bane on shots, think about what you're getting out of it. You're getting damage, but then you're raising, if you build it right, you get the damage from Herald, which is already very powerful being a ranged weapon. You're lowering their chances from dodging your spells, and you're raising your chances to hit your spells, right? So if you roll it all together, you can actually do pretty crazy combos, all right? So how do you play and level up these builds? Well, come watch the streams, because we have more fun when people are in there just seeing this stuff. And I don't like to just be like, in theory, this works. I like to see it in practice. I get cool ideas from you guys anyway, and then we try to run it in honor mode. I think honor mode is the mode for everybody. It's honestly crazy when you beat the game with your crazy ideas, right? Test your knowledge, makes you just feel like a badass when you win, right? Okay, but I also just like answering comments, questions, or suggestions. People were interested in this weapon. They were wanting to know how certain things work or how this build works. So I try to give you the rundown on that. And I'll also in the live chat on stream, try to answer questions too. But who's our sponsor? You are. Thank you for watching, as always. If you want to support the channel, I made it as low as possible on YouTube, so that always appreciate that. Support's been crazy, so thank you so much. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll try and have another fun video out tomorrow, or just come watch the live stream. But until then, you guys have an excellent day.